What up, YouTube? Kaninga here. Just coming at you with some informative Yugimon's news. I'm sure everybody's heard about the new ban list that just came out. It's been reported on Shriek. The new ban list is out. They went ahead and translated it from a Japanese Shonen Jump. It's very interesting to see a lot of these cards, mainly two, notably coming back off the ban list, and one going from completely useless at 3 to being limited at 1, and then the 4 new banned cards. It's hard to say where the format's going to go. I'd have to say it's a very luck-sacky format, and your sideboard is going to be absolutely crucial for this format. How you utilize it, what you put in there, what you decide to check in your sideboard, and what you decide to take a risk and hope that you don't have to face these other decks that you didn't check with your sideboard. But let's get right into it. Alright. First off, on the band hammer is Fishborg Blaster. I understand. It's got repeat abuse, comes back out of the grave at the cost of a card from your hand. You can pitch whatever you'd like. Broke. Very good. Went on par right next with Formula Synchron to do absolute shenanigans off the field. Second card that gets banned, Mind Master. Part of an FTK, OTK. Yeah, we don't ever want to see a format where a person wins a YCS or something with a complete luck sack. Mind Master had to go. We understand why, and it's gone. So Konami checked that. Giant Trunade gets the ban hammer. It's the one card that didn't have many counters. Pretty much your only answer was Solemn Judgment or Dark Bribe, things like that, or maybe even Divine Punishment if you ran that deck. Giant Trunade had to get banned, but they did give us something back that was not as good, but definitely goes on par with it. Giant Trunade gone. Royal Oppression, I don't see why they had to give this to Banhammer. Control is something that really this game didn't really have much of, really. Royal Oppression was pretty much a check or a counter for a lot of cards like Monster Reborn, pretty much every Synchro. It's just hard to say. Rekindling. There's a lot of cards that Royal Oppression severely checked, and was the only card that could really check it. It had the big diversity of cards that it can hit. I guess that's why maybe they banned it. I don't know. But a lot of cards are going to be able to run freely even after sideboard because this being gone. So it's hard to say where that's going to go. Cards that went to 1. Let's see. This guy right here, Blackluster Soldier. I hadn't played with this guy in many years. And with the return of him brings back another card getting reduced to 1, because if it stayed at 3 it'd be ridiculously broke. This guy is awesome, although he has a lot of counters and checks, especially with the new OCG priority rule if it comes to the States. It's hard to say, but I got a feeling it's going to come back. That's why this guy came back, pretty much, because without that check then this guy would be even more broke. Let's see. Debris Dragon. Great card. Very, very great card. I can see why it went to 1. It should have been checked a long time ago, especially when, Black Rose Dragon came back to 3. Very, very good card. I don't think it'll get banned unless something ridiculous comes out later on. Lone Fire Blossom, an extremely powerful card that gets you any plant out of the deck. Very, very good card, and I see why it's banned. Let's see. Legendary 6 Samurai Shin. They should have checked this a long time ago. Very, very great card. Very, very powerful card. Probably nothing on par, really. It's got a replacement effect. It negates spells and traps once per turn. Very great. Finally seeing that 1 slows that deck down severely. That's probably why they decided not to touch the gateway. Next is TG Hyper Librarian. The pros only play 1. TG Hyper Librarian going to 1 makes no difference, really. You just protect the one that you get and you just plus off of it. This card is severely broke still, and I would suggest you get one now that it's at 1. You're going to see the severity of having one of these in your extra deck, and it's just going to bump the price up of this card a lot. Next up, we've got Formula Synchron getting reduced to 1. Should have been reduced probably about a year ago, right after it came out. Very, very broke card. That's probably why Fishboard got banned, but not primarily because they checked this card. Fishboard got banned for a different reason, probably a reason that maybe something in the future is going to come out, or the new Generation Force cards produce. Those cards, there's a lot of Sea Serpent Aqua type cards that run off, and a lot of support in that set. It's going to be a very, very strong format for waters and sea serpents and aquas and fishes. So yeah, that's probably why they gave that the ban hammer as well. Coming back to 1, Heavy Storm. They took away, first they take away Cold Wave, then Trunade. Give us back Heavy Storm, and then take away Trunade. It's got a lot of checks and counters. It's balanced, great for the format. I just don't know how I feel about having Heavy Storm and Dark Hole in the same format. It's kind of scary, but we'll see how that goes. They both have checks and counters. Probably the most notably and common one would be Stardust. Here's one card that you don't see every day. Probably 80% of you don't even have this card. Primal Seed, and for those that you don't know what it does, you have to have either Chaos Emperor Dragon or Blackluster Soldier on the field to activate this card. And you can, all it lets you do is add 2 of your remove from play cards to your hand, so it's a +1. It's almost better than Pot of Greed, because you can choose what you want to remove from the graveyard when you summon either of these 2, and then you just play Primal Seed and get any card that you remove from play. Any card, just any card, not a monster, not just a trap or a spell, any cards you'd like. Primal Seed is very strong. Most likely it's going to be monsters you get back, but other cards you can utilize this with. But it's a very